Well, tonight we are hearing more from family members about the 3 children killed in a deadly train crash in Mathis over the weekend. 5-year-old Aubrey Galley died last night at the hospital. Her 2 brothers, 12-year-old Aiden Posada and 8-year-old Jacoby Posada, died at the scene. Troopers say Galley's father was driving the car and did not stop at a railroad crossing. Our Taylor Alanis tells us the family's story.
It's a terrible accident.
It's next to impossible for this family to hold back tears when talking about 3 little angels.
We're all feeling the same pain and heartbreak.
Jacoby and Aiden Posada died on impact when a train hit the car they were in near Mathis. Their sister Aubrey passed away 2 days later.
The boys and Aubrey touched so many people with, how sweet and wonderful they were.
Aubrey's father was behind the wheel, but is expected to recover.
He's grieving as well as everybody else.
For now, the family is remembering the laughter of 3 children taken away too soon. The boy's aunt says Aiden was a prankster with a kind heart.
He was a sweet boy, very caring, considering, generous.
His brother Jacoby, very much the same.
He was always dancing and happy, very spontaneous, outgoing little boy.
And 5-year-old Aubrey.
Oh, they were just so full of life. Aubrey was a real princess in life. Yeah, she was.
The siblings' last time together, a trip to what they loved to do the most, fishing.
She got her new fishing pole, and Kobe would always have to bait Aubrey's because she did not like to touch them.
Their families placing a memorial along the tracks, honoring Aubrey, Aiden, and Jacoby. Taylor Alanis, 3 News.
And the community of Beeville is shaken tonight following the loss of those 3 members of that very small town. The Beeville Independent School District released a statement saying they are saddened by the passing of the 3 children and that campus crisis teams and counselors are helping staff and students through the difficult time. Neighboring Mathis ISD has also offered to help in any way that they can.